Right, everyone. Hello. Hope you're all well. Today we're talking with Steve Turnbull from Beach Access Northeast. Steve's going to tell us all about himself and the wonderful charity he works with. So over to you, Steve. If you'd like to get started.
Thanks, Jonathan. So just like to say thank you to Jonathan for this opportunity to get the message out there a little bit. Beach Access Northeast, we've been a charity, we've been a charity for a number of years now. I think it's about 3 or 4 years in. It started from an idea up in Scotland and then it moved to Blythe and Whitley Bay. So we've had facilities there for about 2 years now, I think it is. And we're still a very, very small charity. And the aim of the charity is to provide access to disabled people and anybody who needs access, really, who people have mobility problems getting around on sand, essentially. We have branched out a little bit to, I think it's Plessy Woods. There was a youth group with some disabled members there that needed that their chairs wouldn't handle the woodland paths as well. So we lent them a couple of chairs for a day for that. But it's mainly beach. So you look at Whitley Bay, Blythe, now South Shields, and I manage the South Shields facility, along with two other sort of like mainstream volunteers, Catherine and John. My wife answers the phone, so if you phone up our number, but you speak to my wife Nicola. And I have lots and lots of help us with South Shields Surf School. So we're kind of in partnership with them. If you need to find us and you're familiar with South Shields, we're right next door. There's 2 containers there now, and we are the red part of the containers is the surf school, and we're the blue part at the back. And we're having there currently at Shields we have 3 main wheelchairs that we use, and one of them's powered. One was like a battery powered thing. It's like a little. If you ever watch Robot Wars, it's like little tanks on Robot Wars. It's about the size of one of them, and it's got a standard wheelchair permanently fitted to the top of it, and you can just transfer into that wheelchair, and then it's got a joystick, and you can drive it around the beach. There's also, but that's battery powered, so that one can't go in the water. There's also a thing called a hippo camp, which is like a tricycle arrangement with wider wheels on, which is like a French wheelchair. That's quite low to the ground. That's great for kids, because if they want to play sandcastles with their siblings or with their friends, they can reach out and play with sandcastles, and you can get them in and out quite easily. And that can go into the water. If it gets splashed, like if they don't get the feet in and splash around the water, they can. And adults can get in as well. It's a medium-sized one, so adults can get in. And then we've also got one which is kind of supplied by Newcastle University. Somebody I know at Newcastle University said that they have disabled students, and they'd like to offer that facility to, people come to Newcastle, and the Northeast is a wonderful place. As you know, Jonathan, the Northeast is a wonderful place to live. We've got these beautiful beaches, and we've got, beautiful coastlines. So they wanted to offer that as part of Newcastle University's offer, is like, if you're disabled and you come to university, there's a chair available at the beach that you can get on the sand, and so they kindly sort of bought some equipment, and then we can use that. And then we've just got some lottery funding for probably about another 2 wheelchairs linked to the Disabled Surf project that we're running as a side project. So the main thing I run is if you want to come down the beach and you struggle to get on the sand with your existing mobility equipment, whether that's a scooter or a wheelchair, you ring up our number, which I'll just plug in quickly. The website is Beach Access Northeast, but there's also the Facebook group is Beach Access Northeast South Shields, which is a bit of a long one, but I didn't want to call it Beach Access South Shields because Beach Access Northeast is the main charity. So if anything, we'll have to stick with that name. Sorry, I'm waffling a bit, but so the website is beachaccessnortheast.org, and the number, if you want to phone, is 0300 999 4444.
Brilliant.
So 999 and all the 4s.
Steve, I'll get that off. Sorry, I'll get that off at the end as well, and I'll put it on the post. So
great.
I'll make a note of that.
It's brilliant. Yeah. So yeah, so you ring that number and you get like loads of options. And currently the options are Whitley Bay, Blythe. I don't know which order they're in, but you just press a number. Whitley Bay, Blythe, South Shields, and Seaton Carew, I think, are the 4 options. No, there's another one. New Biggin as well, if you want to go to New Biggin Beach. So you know, but during lockdown, all of our volunteers, which are, you know, really, I just do Shields, but the main force behind it is Caroline, Lorna, Andy, and Sue, and Nicola, and a few other people up north of the river. And they do amazing work fundraising. You know, Lorna and Caroline feel, well, not missing anybody out. Everyone does amazing work fundraising. So I'd have to be careful if I'm getting recorded, because there's about to be somebody's name I've missed off. But they do a lot of fundraising activities. One of them last year we did the Great North Beach wheelchair, sorry, the Great North wheelchair lineup. So we tried to break the record for the most wheelchairs in a line, like a big massive wheelchair conga. And that we did that at Whitley Bay Links. It was a horrible grotty day. It would be mistakenly booked by the council, not by the council, but would ask for permission on a Wednesday. And then people were like, why did we pick a Wednesday, you know? And we still had, I think it was something like 300, I'm trying to remember how many we had now. Let's have a look. I think the record was 500 odd, and we're only about, I think we're only about 120 short of the record, and that was on a Wednesday. And there was after that, there was loads of specialist disabled schools that said we could have turned up with, you know, 20 people, you know. And there was loads of care homes that said if we'd known about this, we could have turned up with more people then. So I think that after lockdown, you know, we'll probably smash that record, you know. And it was great to get everyone down to the Whitley Bay facility and to see how many people would actually help over the past couple of years, you know. So Shields, we've had about 15 people and families down. We only opened up, I think it was July and August last year we were only able to open for like the back end of the summer season. And we had 15 people, and seeing the smiles on people's faces, especially the children when they get down, you know. I should do a bit of history. What prompted this was my wife suffers from multiple sclerosis, and she's not fully wheelchair bound, but she does use a wheelchair out of the house, or she has a mobility scooter. And what happened was, I'm an aircraft engineer by trade, and I go surfing, you know, and my son took up paddle boarding and surfing, and she wanted to come down to the beach and watch us, but she was watching from quite a long way up the beach. So our friends had a beach party sort of thing. The surf club had a beach party, and you know, we had to carry her down to the beach in the chair. And then me and my mate Stevie, we were about 3 loggers in, you know. Okay, I'm lying. We're a few loggers in, and trying to get her back off the beach. You know, she's going, "Are you two going to carry me up here?" You know. So it was kind of, we thought. And then she wanted to get access to the beach, so I looked at buying a adapted wheelchair, thinking, how much would you think, Jonathan, for a wheelchair that goes on the beach? I thought maybe £1,000, maybe 1,500. Yeah. And I got a shock when the cheapest one I could find was like £3,500, you know. Yeah, and I must be part Yorkshireman, because I was like, I'm not paying that, you know. I'll knock one up. it's only 2 poles and a few wheels, and I fix airplanes. I should be able to do that. So that prompted us to start looking at building one, and then I got in touch with a guy up in somebody who knew somebody. Got me in touch with Beach Access North East, and they had actually built one in conjunction with Northumbria University, I think, or it might be Newcastle University, one of the two. And they built a thing called another lad had built this thing called a Nomad for his son, who is, some of you members, some of the people that use this group may be fully, you know, kind of in their wheelchair all the time. So if they have a large powered wheelchair with all the adaptions on it, they can't really transfer out that wheelchair into something else. So we have clients like that. So the Nomad is a big kind of heavy steel structure that can carry a whole battery powered chair that you wheel onto it, almost like a miniature trailer. and
Yeah.
then that's got big spongy wheels, and you can wheel that onto the beach, but that requires 2 people to push it.
Yeah.
So we're looking at long-term designing something a little bit sort of like a tracked vehicle that uses the wheelchair's own power to power it. And there's loads of things there's loads of projects that I've got myself involved in with that. So without waffling on too much about those things, there's the long-term plan is to be able to sort of upcycle wheelchairs. We got donated a load of standard wheelchairs from North Tyneside Council, and basically I've built 3 or 4 prototypes that work as well as the $3,000 French wheelchairs, if not better. Out of all bits of windsurfers and all bits of motorbikes and stuff.
So when you say upcycle, you mean that you're adapting them yourself, like you're
yeah. So don't worry, you don't turn to Beach Access North East and get given something that I've cobbled together out of something that looks like Stepnose Yard. Okay, with the only ones that we hire out, well, sorry, we don't hire, we give them out to the public. The only ones that are they're like factory built proper wheelchairs, which are purpose built. But what we're trying to do is, over time, we're trying to reduce our cost. We're trying to do a bit of recycling, and basically, we're just trying to use common sense, which is, yes, it's nice to have a £3,000 wheelchair, but you don't need that, and we can adapt existing wheelchairs with old motorbike tyres, which I can bolt to some old wheelchair wheels. They fit on the same axle mountings. So the other thing we can do is if we're short of wheelchairs or someone comes down, or they want one, or they want some wheels. A lot of people with carers, if I could give people wheels, bigger wheels to fit on that you stick in the boot of the car, you get down to the beach, you quickly pop the big wheel, the beach wheels on, and you just wheelie them. If someone's down there with a carer, where that's the easiest way to get someone onto the beach, is just make the back wheels on the wheelchair bigger. But I should stick to that's a personal thing at South Shields that we're doing, and that's not quite up and running yet. But what is up and running, or will be, 20th of March.
Yeah, I was going to get back open 20th.
We're open on the 20th of March for. Oh, now you put me on the spot. We're open on the 20th of March. Under current lockdown regulations, we sort of sit between, recreation and exercise. Yeah.
Right.
So once it's the rule of 6, which I think is a bit later than that, we can open fully.
Yeah.
We still have got COVID safe procedures. So all of the staff that are helping you, we've all got PPE on, and I've had my jab myself, my first one. Most people's over sort of 50 that help out. And all the wheelchairs are completely utterly. We'll have this marine safe spray that we disinfect them with after each use. We were doing a kind of, you can only use a chair like once every couple of days to do that, but we can disinfect the whole chair. We wipe them down and then dry them off, and then they're ready for the next person. We have a distance policy where you turn up and basically you are getting the equipment from us. I should point out that for insurance purposes and other training purposes and stuff, our volunteers cannot assist you in and out of the wheelchairs. So we provide the wheelchair, we'll stick it next to you. We can look after your wheelchair while you're away, so we can lock that away securely and wait until you've used the time on the beach, and come back. We can kind of assist you getting with parking and things, but we can't actually lift you in and out of the chairs. I'm getting some transfer equipment, some transfer boards for use by yourself if you turn up. What we can do is there's a hoist at Whitley Bay, which if your carer is okay to use the hoist, you can use the hoist. But unfortunately, it's the way our public liability is. Insurance is like the dirtiest word in the world now when you're looking at the common sense, but we have to pay public liability insurance even as a charity, and it's the insurance company that frightens you off, but you generally find most people now, if someone who's watching this video doesn't have a carer and has to come down, and a lot of disabled people are very, very independent, and we will put everything in place to make you as comfortable for example, the Freedom Tracks, which is the powered one that drives like a tank. That's the best one for someone who's fully independent. I'm able-bodied. I use the hippocamp. The down on the beach, just try to manually push the chair in sand. And if you are able to walk, you know how difficult walking is in sand, Jonathan. You know, so really, my initial target was to get a hand-powered wheelchair that you can get across the sand. And basically, you find you have to be built like the Hulk to get out and move. You can do it, but you know, as soon as an incline or something, that's very difficult to achieve. So generally, pushing somebody. I mean, I am building one with a ratchet system on there, so you can like use two levers to kind of get more power. Because obviously, we want with the disabled surfing, we want the ideal goal is to get someone who is motivated, very independent, gets out of their own car, transfers into one of our adapted chairs, and then gets themselves down to the shore, and hopefully is able to undertake some sort of activity like surfing or something like that with the next project, which is joint with South Shields Surf School and Beach Access North East, and that is a disabled surf program, which is probably similar to what you've seen on Pudsey Bay. If any of your viewers watch Nick Knowles build them a lovely, massive, huge building with all-purpose built kit that looked like a surfboard, and I was blown away, and I was like, I want a piece of that. And my phone went red hot, and Nick Jones at the surf school, his phone went red hot with everyone that knows us ringing us up going, when are we doing this? You know, so we need this at Shields, and I've got loads of very adventurous disabled people, various states of ability, who are keen to. Some people just want to get in the sea when it's nice and sunny. Some people want to be able to actually slide down a wave. And last year it brought tears to Nick's eyes when he managed to get a lady. She came down to, all she wanted to do was float on a paddleboard with a friend. So you probably seen the big inflatable paddleboards, Jonathan. That's you know, there's all over every beach in the UK now. It seems to be a bit of a fad. So Nick got a lady down. I was on holiday at the time. He got her down into the hippocamp chair. We got her next to the paddleboard, sat her on it, and then there was little waves coming in, little tiny little ankle biter waves coming in. You know, maybe it's about a kind of like a foot high wave. And then Nick says to her, "Do you want to catch a wave?" And she went, "Yeah." And then hearing her shout with glee, she got to put a hand either side of it and just surf the wave in a little bit, sitting down on the board, and that was what it's all about, you know. So obviously not everyone's able to do that. Not everyone's able to have exactly the same experience. But even if we have elderly people that have grandchildren or children, and they're down on the beach and they're playing with sandcastles. What prompted this whole thing really was a lady called Lorna, who is my wife's a member of the South Shields MS Society, and I went to one of their meetings, and when I talked about buying a wheelchair for my wife, originally the plan was to buy one for my wife and then allow people from the MS Society to use it as well, because if it's sitting there and it's £3,000, we're not going to use it every day. So it was like, you know, ring us up and you can borrow our chair. And that was the original plan before I found out about Beach Access North East and jumped in with both feet and decided to do this. So Lorna, it was heartbreaking because Lorna's young son was down on the beach playing on the sand and playing chasing the waves, you know, up and down. You know, he's only, I think he's 6 or 7 or something, and Lorna, she was up on she's from Sunderland, and she was up at Seaburn, and she was up on the promenade, you know, like 400 meters away, watching her son play in the beach. And someone had to go down and video him playing on the phone and then show his mum later on, Mum, look at this. And you know, if that doesn't touch your heartstrings, nothing does. And I'm thinking, for that 400-meter sand, how different that experience is, you know, which really galvanised me to get off me back end and do something about it, you know. And I have not a lot of time. I work full time, and I'm a carer for my wife, and I commute quite a lot. So you know, I go through the time tunnel every day. So that's 2 hours of my life wasted. So when the traffic starts again, yeah, so but I thought if I don't do it, if I don't do it, who else will? And that's a lot of kind of that was the motivation. And I've been very lucky to have lots of awesome people behind us. And South Tyneside Council has been very supportive. Alan Maven and Vicky Smith at the council and a few other people. When we ask for permission for stuff, it's an easy win because they just go, yeah, that sounds brilliant. We wish we could help you a bit more. Go and do it. Political parties like the Green Party and the Labour Party, we keep it very unpolitical. I don't want councillors coming down saying, "Oh, we've done this and we've done that for you." But they are supportive. Councillors are incredibly busy people, and I've spoken to Ian Malcolm, I've spoken to Emma Lowellbuck. Emma's husband Simon's been very supportive of the project. He's like, if he needs to write letters for you, and come down, and he's volunteered and stuff. John Ridley from the Green Party has been down. John's one of our volunteers. So without politicising it, people that are public minded. I should also mention Nutty Knitting Nana is our nickname.
What's that?
And Nutty Knitting Nana is her nickname, and it's not she's on Facebook with somebody else because she had to take over her mum's account. Come on, her name's honestly she's quite well known, she is, and her name's I'm kicking myself, and you're recording this, and she's going to go, thanks for forgetting my name, Steve. Oh, not me, send to them. No. Anyway, it'll come to us. She started off. She's a scooter user herself. She doesn't have massive mobility problems, but she does struggle to get around. And she's been trying to get it running for a couple of years, and kind of started the ball rolling with the council a little bit. And I just came in and I said, is it okay? I don't want to step on any toes and all that. And we worked together on the Great North Run, and we did some fundraising the Great North Run, went around the Great North Run and just collected there. And I went around all the charity, like the MS Society, the cancer charity tents and all that, which are all set up with the big huge charities. And I just let them know, and all the care homes and stuff, like there's a care home in Heaven who were keen to come down and use our facilities. So, what else have I missed? Bands, Bessie and the Zinc Buckets, Kev from Bessie and the Zinc Buckets, who a lot of people in South Shields know, and Rivellino, and Johnny Boyle, who plays down at the on a Thursday night down at the Crab Shack. But I mean, lots of people in Shields know Rivellino, and the guys from Rivellino have been brilliant. They've had the bucket out at their gigs, collecting money for it. They have a main charity, which is a young lad that they know that's got that. I can't remember, he's cerebral palsy or something. I can't remember. You see him on the Great North Run, they all wear the Superman gear. That's their main charity. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
They overtook me when I was dying on the last Great North Run I did, so that was the thing. I was kind of yeah. So have you done the Great North Run yourself, Jonathan? Have you?
I haven't. I've never done it.
Have you? Oh, honestly, yeah.
Something I've looked to do. Definitely.
Yeah. If you're a Geordie, when you run under that, or if you're from the northeast, when you run under the Tyne Bridge, I've only ever done one in the whole time. I've been around, but definitely just do it once.
Yeah.
It's emotional,
Yeah.
It's going under the bridge and shouting "Oggy, Oggy, Oggy." My dad did every one, from 1981.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then my mum stopped him. I mean, he's 74, I think my dad is now, 74, 75, and then he got in his late 60s, I think early 70s, my mum says, because there was a few, that really hot one where somebody tragically died on it,
Yeah.
my mum says, you're not doing any more. But I would like to nominate whoever thought of the run-through showers, where you get a shower that it sprinkles cold water. I think they deserve a Nobel Peace Prize for that, because that's awesome. Yeah, so there you go. So I did that did that for the MS Society. But yeah, we have a presence at the Great North Run and have some banners up out the back, and have like a collection stadium, a collection station. And you know, we raised a bit of money there, but what biggest fundraiser is Bessie's little blue van down on Shields Beach, Bessie's Sweet Bakes, and her, even just one of her tins. John, the other chip van, sometimes has a tin out as well. And those collection tins, we raise hundreds of pounds on that. The people of Shields wants to hear about that. That are very, very generous. And you know, it's not just it's not, there's 5 of us going there as well. You know, people just go, oh wow, what an awesome idea. Why isn't this happening across the country, you know? You know, but we're from the northeast, aren't we? So we have these ideas, we have this innovation, and we help people.
Yeah.
You know, anybody suggests to me that I should charge for that service, which they do in other parts of the country. You know, you can hire a beach wheelchair, and I'm like, oh, it's not people's fault that they're disabled. You know, if we can do this for free, we do this for free. You know.
No, I think it's an excellent service. Definitely.
Yeah.
Brilliant work, Nick. Brilliant.
Yeah. So, do you have any questions about what you've heard? Because I do tend to waffle on.
No, that's been brilliant. It's been brilliant, Steve. So talking about the future, like, is this something you're going to be looking? I know we spoke today. You mentioned somewhere up the coast. Is this something you're looking to expand on through time?
Yeah, I'm glad you reminded us, Jonathan. It's basically, we are looking at right. So the big news is that Sunderland Council's been very generous, and they've put some funding behind it, and we're looking to open up the Beach Access North East will be expanding to Sunderland. Now, currently, because you know, it really was getting on my wick, because people were going, oh, it's at Shields, when's it come to Sunderland? And I'm going, well, thanks, because it's taken a lot of effort setting up at Shields. Just use the Shields one, but it makes complete sense to have it at Seaburn as well. So I think it's Seaburn. I don't know if it's Seaburn or Roker. So yeah, and the people of Sunderland, I mean, Sunderland's just, you know, on a sunny day, it will be really busy, and hopefully the people of Sunderland can experience this as well. Because I think about 50% of the people that's been at Shields have been, you know, further down the way. There's a lad called James Black, who is he's working with Hartlepool at Seaton Carew, and he's been actually involved longer than I have, and he's doing lots and lots of great work down there in conjunction with golf clubs and all that sort of stuff. He's got loads of great ideas, and I think he's very close to being able to open and offer the facility at Hartlepool. We're not quite far as down south as Saltburn yet, because Saltburn's like another beach that would benefit from it. And then we've got Seaburn. It's 2 ladies I've been in touch with at Seaburn who have like an outdoor centre down there. They have a water sports centre, and they're very keen to get something there. And then on the other way towards the Scottish border, anyone that's been, I was talking to Jonathan earlier on about Beadnell Beach, because that's a beautiful part of the country. It really is stunning. And you know, and as well as that, if you want to get it with COVID and stuff, some people are shielding. You know, some people are still worried about catching it, especially if you're disabled and you have other health conditions that make you vulnerable. So you might not want to be on South Shields Beach on a sunny day where there's 4,000 people there. So Beadnell, you know, and Bamborough, we are looking at opening something up there. New Biggin Maritime Centre has a thing. Oh, and I should mention as well, more good news. After years and years of not having anything at Tynemouth, because obviously Tynemouth's the big beach in between, between Whitley Bay and Shields. So there's now one at Cullercoats. There's a thing called a Tretnetics chair, which is the new ones we've discovered, which are basically 2 mountain bike wheels and a little tiny wheel at the back. One of them's powered, one of them's just a pushy one. They handle, you know, I think they're the only things that they might struggle with really deep sand. But yeah, they're pretty good. So one of them's at Cullercoats. We just got that 2 weeks ago. And then Tynemouth have next to it's not the Rendezvous Cafe, the little cafe at Tynemouth. Do you know which one I'm on about, John?
Sure.
There's a little cafe on the beach at Tynemouth. There's a beach course or something.
I know which one you mean, Steve. I can't think of the name.
Well, they've given permission to put We're playing container chess at the moment. South Shields is because we're going to start up the disabled surf project. Now, I don't know if Tynemouth Surf School will be involved in that at a later date, but South Shields is going to kind of be the pilot in the northeast for it, and Nick Jones is ploughing ahead with that. He's training instructors up as we speak. Tomorrow, and Surfing England are really helping with that. They've kind of got on board, and it's not just like people standing up surfing. It's people who can't move their legs at all or don't have any legs. We'll have boards that you can hang on to and kind of like bodyboarding. People that with missing upper limbs and stuff, or with limited movement. Even people who are severely disabled, where we can get them in a chair and get them onto a board and have like about 2 instructors around either side of them, and just get them to come in on a wave and get that sensation of the wave pushing you in and being a surf dude, you know.
Yeah.
And then you have to buy the shark's tooth necklace and the bangles and get the dreadlocks, you know.
Have you been an avid surfer for a good amount of years, like Stephen? Yeah.
No. I took up wind. I was out in Cyprus with the military, and I took up windsurfing. About 2004, I think. I've been a biker for most of my life. I have motorbikes with me, kind of rock climbing and things. But I took up windsurfing, and then my friend Steve, he does everything. He's a proper waterman. He does kite surfing, windsurfing, surfing. You know, if it involves things that are dangerous and wet, he's in it. You know. And he's sort of. I watched him kind of surf, and I thought, wow, you know, why haven't I done that? And when it's too wavy to go windsurfing, the waves are coming in. I thought, I'm not very good on waves. So I bought a surfboard and floundered around on it for about 1.5 years. And Steve was going to teach me, but sometimes people that are really good at something are really bad at, you know, like, just do this, it's easy. And I went, no, it's not. And luckily, Nick started up, you know, and I went down to Nick at the surf school, and I said, listen, I've got my own board. I don't even know what I'm doing with it. I'm a windsurfer. I'm not a surfer. I had one lesson with Nick, and I was stood up straight away catching waves. And because I'm 46 and too overweight and old, I'm not really getting any better. But you know, I kind of. And then my son took it up. You know, he 14, wouldn't go in the water at 14, 16, couldn't get him out of the water.
Yeah.
So you know, but we're really keen to that exhilarating feeling of being pushed along by nature, by the wave, and it's a very liberating experience, you know. Like, even I paddled out, you know. If you go down and watch if you watch the surfers when they're sitting at what you call outback, they sit behind where the waves break, you know, and they're waiting for the wave to come in. That's quite a sociable thing to do when you're out with your mates. You know, you sit there and you just floating around on a board and talking about whatever, you know. And in the summer one night I was out with my friend Tim that surfs. You know, he's been a surfer for years. He's like the surf guru down there. You know, he's the old man of the sea kind of thing, knows everything, and he's a really awesome surfer. And he was out there, and it was the last light of the day, and it had been a baking hot day, be 29 degrees or something on Shields Beach, which was unheard of a couple of years ago. And we looked out and we saw the poles of the you know, the telegraph, not the light poles, you know, street lights. And I says to Tim, I said, you know, if those street lights were palm trees, this could be Miami, you know. It was great. But obviously, Shields Beach, you know, it's not until you live inland. I lived in Wolverhampton, and on a weekend, I was like, said to my wife, what we do this weekend? Shall we go to? And you go, where do you go? You know, whereas if you get a nice sunny day, the whole of the northeast goes to the coast. We're very lucky to have it, you know. Yeah, definitely. So, you know, and it's the other thing that sparked off was I watched some carers from a kind of, you know, when people take people out in a minibus for the day, who all have mobility access problems and disability problems and accessibility problems, and the sort of, they took them to the beach, you know, got them out the minibus, bought these kids ice creams. All of these kids were in a powered chair, you know, so who are relying on the chair not just to get around, but to get around their own homes and things. You know, pointed the chairs towards the beach and gave them ice cream, and that's all that we really do for them. You know, because lifting all the kids out and getting them on the sand and getting them up, getting the sand off them and getting them back into the chairs and all that. And I'm thinking we can do better than that as a society. You know, we can go to the moon. We can get people that can't use their legs onto a bit of sand. Yeah. So that's what sparked it off. You know, and so I don't want people who are there's a lot of able-bodied people who look at disabled people, you know, and you have this thing in your heart and you go, let's share, let's be a society, let's say, you know, I'm going to help you to get there. If you want to get there, that's what society is all about, you know, and help disabled people have the same experiences and the same, you know, need for exploration, like kids getting down looking in rock pools and things like that. You know, you can do that with a beach wheelchair, and it's a simple thing to do. You know, much like yourself. You know, I mean, Jonathan, you set this up because you feel as if we can be doing things. You know, we can be.
Definitely.
So I would point out that it's totally free. We'll look after your chair when you come down there. I don't think the disabled surfing will be completely free because people pay for surf lessons, and Nick's got to pay his instructors, and there's lots and lots of costs involved in that which aren't directly funded by charities and stuff. And you know, I'm not going to comment any more on that because I don't know what Nick's doing with pricing on that. And obviously, any funding that we get for that takes the price down.
Yeah.
You know, so you know the goal is to make it the same cost as or roughly comparable to a normal surf lesson. You know, or a private surf lesson, and it might be that. But yeah,
exciting stuff, Steve.
Yeah, and like I say, Beadnell's a great beach. Would just, well, if anybody's watching this and they know anybody at Beadnell or Bamborough, we are looking for a kind of conglomeration of volunteers up there. And volunteering, this is my final pitch I'm probably going to do, is the two volunteers that work with me at Shields. You know, John sort of offered a little bit of time. You know, he said, I don't have a lot of time, I've got a little bit of time, I can go down and do this. And then the first time, I couldn't make it one day, and I said, John, can you come down and do this? And you know, John will tell you, it was a life-changing experience for him. You know, it's a rewarding experience. You meet people, you're doing good in the world, you were forced for good, and you know, it's the right thing to do. And basically, if it's a nice sunny day down the beach and you're down there anyway, you might as well sit in my deck chair and give chairs out, you know, and sit with an ice cream, and I'm sure Bessie at the cake van will look after you.
Sounds good.
And then the other beach, so Shields Beach really runs off they run off the surf school. So the surf school, the employees at the surf school, we call them the groms, surf kind of like slang, but little groms at the surf school, when they're giving boards out and they're washing the boards down and stuff, they've also got the key for the container. If someone comes up and drops in and says, could I have we've had people book on surf lessons before where they've had grandparents or actually had somebody where the mum was in a wheelchair and she didn't know that was there, and she came down and we went, oh, it's awesome to be able to say, while you're there was brother and sister, both our kids, little boy and little girl, they were on the surf lesson, and she thought she'd just watch them up there. And I said, oh, no, come here. I'll give her a chair and we'll push her down on the beach. And she was right up in the water and taking pictures and taking videos and that. And that was a lovely bonus for her because she didn't know that we had that.
Yeah.
But the surf school really, really, really supports beach access at South Shields, like 100%. So they've got the key for the stuff, and they're all trained to give the chairs out. So that allows us to have a more of a drop-in thing. And I'd say last year probably about 30% of our users were just coming past, and you know, and now people on the beach, I run up to them if they're in a wheelchair and say, do you know, you can go on the sand if you want. I've got the kit for you. And some people politely decline. They're just happy to buzz up down the promenade. And some people are like, oh, great, you know. and I had Peter, who's absolutely mad, who nearly crashed my tank. Yeah, he's oh great, can I have a go? And he's like, he's away on the freedom tracks and he's seeing if he can get it over bumps and things like that. I'm going, Peter, that's £7 worth of kit. That but, Peter's great, so Peter'll be down. He's a friend of the family. Peter'll be down next year. Yeah, and COVID, unfortunately, has taken a big toll on some people. There's a lad called, you might have seen him on TV, a lad called Dave Curtin, who was on holiday when he contracted COVID, a close personal friend of mine. And on his way back, he was travelling back to the UK, and he ended up in a coma for about, I think it's 5 months in Belgium, all the way through the lockdown when we were complaining that we were stuck in the house. He was in hospital with tubes in him. And unfortunately, he suffered multiple strokes as part of that. And he survived, and now he's the first patient on the new recovery hospital that they've just opened up. I don't know if you know about that. There's a COVID recovery hospital. So coming out of coronavirus, or if we're not out of it yet, we're still very much in it.
Yeah.
It's going to be important things. Some people more people may have mobility problems. So being able to offer something to help them, and Dave coming down the beach, he's really, it's having somewhere to go and having a goal to get to. So I'm going to go to the beach and I'm going to walk along with Steve. So I'll walk with him, and then we'll put him in the freedom tracks because he didn't want to be a burden. I said, oh, Dave, I need someone to test drive this, and I needed somebody who had mobility problems. It's not good me doing it. I said, how easy is it to get into and get out of? And so he test drove around the beach and stuff like that, and came back with a seal of approval. And he's helping us with loads of people helping us with design. There's a lad called Ian who does some 3D printing for us for little spacers and stuff there, and even bearings. Yeah, and there's loads of people helping with that.
Excellent.
Yeah, so get on and use it. I'll be there. Or the surf school guys will be there, or my son will be there, or Catherine will be there, or John will be there, and we're there to help you. We're there to get you on the beach if you need to be. And by the end of this summer, we should have about 5 chairs, I think. So we could get, if there's a group of people that want to go down together, we can hopefully get that. And if I do need extra chairs, I can call in International Rescue from Whitley Bay. If I let a group booking and we get a couple of days notice.
Yeah.
We don't have a van yet, but I've just built a trailer. So yeah,
brilliant, Steve. Really good work. If anyone has any questions for you, is there some way of contacting you other than the phone? Or you got like an email, business email?
Well, the best way to get in touch with us, I am rubbish. I don't have a smartphone. You laugh at us, that's my phone, right? Everyone laughs at us. CIA can't track it. No, I'm just kidding. I've just never got around to buying a smartphone. I've never needed one. I probably need one now. We're in the charity. I need to get one. But so I check Facebook as much as I can. So the best thing is, if you want to book a chair, you ring the number and you go through the thing, and that's how we record how many people we've used. Right. And the people on the end of the phone, depending on which option you press, they have like a thing where they will email. They'll ask you for your email address and your phone number, and they'll email you out to keep everything paperless for coronavirus, so we're not handling forms and stuff. They'll email you a terms and conditions form that would ask you to sign. It's on Google Docs at the moment because that's what Nick uses at the surf school. I'm better off at Microsoft, but currently we're using Google Docs. So we'll ask you to fill in an online form, or we've still got paper-based forms if you can't manage that. And then one of the volunteers will get in touch with you and say when you can come down and use it. It will fit as best we can around your timings. If you want to, we'll have one lady who does like early morning swimming, and so don't be frightened to ask for like 5 a.m. and stuff like that. People will try and accommodate it as best you can. And then the best thing is the Facebook groups. So they all start with, we've uniformed them now, so they all start with Beach Access Northeast. Now I should have some. That's our logo there. Yeah. Okay. So they all start with Beach Access Northeast. They all have that logo. And we've all got individual Facebook groups now. So if you go on Facebook and type in Beach Access Northeast South Shields, you'll come up with mine. And then I can send a message on the group. If you want to volunteer, if you want to help out, I know there's a lady who's currently works for a bank who's happy to tie in and just saying, oh, I'll do a bit of fundraising ideas for you. Yeah, we're happy to sort of have any sort of help we can. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your time, Steve. It's been brilliant. I think it's a wonderful thing you're doing. Wonderful.
I told you it was difficult to shut us up.